What is going on, guys? MJ2005 Gundam here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the real grade Shining Gundam from mobile fighter G Gundam. Developed by Dr. Mikamura as Neo Japan's 13th Gundam Fights representative, it boasted overwhelming capabilities thanks to Domon's skills and emotional state, which powers its ace in the whole, the Super Mode. Although they didn't come bursting out of a flower bud, the real grade Shining Gundam is made of 13 runners and a decal sheet, and at long last, the real grade God Gundam's legacy carries on. And I mean that quite literally, because besides the advanced mobile suit joints for the shoulders and forearms, bits and pieces of the real grade God Gundam's frame were reused in the chest, waist, and most notably the manipulators. But besides expecting a similar build quality, the old parts are vastly outnumbered by the new offerings, which provides quite the interesting build and challenge. Besides the parts being heavily undergated, setting up a true Super Mode release, the incorporation of the Super Mode transformation, and most importantly, the vast array of small parts and need for millimeter perfect fitting jack up the difficulty quite a bit. Not to mention that nut marks can quite easily result on the normal gates when cutting the richer pieces. As such, it's a very intricate build that I think might be a bit overwhelming for beginners to tackle. Otherwise, it's a pretty intriguing kit to put together. A complete real grade Shining Gundam looks, frankly, impeccable. The color choices are bold, surface details are sharp, and the redesign has gone above and beyond to not only capture the essence of the Shining Gundam design, but to also sharpen up the angles, giving it a truly fierce and angry appearance. Although some have expressed discontent over the very slim arms, I think they're a result of building around the real grade God Gundam's forearms, but gives off a more nimble aesthetic as a result, complemented by the heavy duty forearm guards. As is the norm for real grades, the Shining features a two-tone primary white and a lot of part separation to break out the detail, which is especially apparent when looking at the tiny yellow pieces for the head and chest, leaving only the eyes and the rear head camera as the most necessary decals, besides the optional ones for the forehead camera and for under the chest gem to enhance them a bit, and brandish the latter with either a ring or the King of Hearts logo. As for other blemishes, besides the odd nut marks that may stick out, the kit is literally flawless in that regard, and I'm particularly glad that the hinges for the face mask look natural to the design, especially when this is a 1:144 scale kit, and when the master grade doesn't even have a transformable face to begin with. Sure, there's a healthy amount of panel lining to bring out, but I personally think the real grade Shining Gundam more than suffices as a straight build. Articulation starts with a double-hinged ball-jointed neck, so besides the unimpeded rolling and rotation, you can also begin its transformation into a rokurokubi. The shoulder sockets can swing along two axes, while the shoulder itself can roll and rotate on a ball joint. The arms are on a double hinge to maximize upwards and forwards mobility, while the shoulder armor itself is independent. There's a bicep and forearm swivel, double jointed elbows, and gauntlets, hinged ball jointed wrists, and a knuckle joint for the karate chop hands. The joints in the torso and waist allow for crazy crunches towards all directions, and a full waist rotation. Meanwhile, the front skirts can flare out and move away, while the back skirt can also move, and the ball jointed side skirts can also rotate to readjust their positions. The legs can also drop down to maximize the front to back kicks and go beyond the full side splits. There's an inwards thigh tilt, thigh swivel, double jointed knees, opening thruster panels, movable ankle armor, 4 joints in the ankle to give it the widest footing possible, and movable toe sections. Finally, the backpack thruster and vents can move, while the boosters can move along 2 axes. The philosophy used in the real grade Shining Gundam is much the same as the real grade God Gundam, so the Shining does boast a wide range of articulation, with most of the structure being generally tight, besides the risk of loosening up the forearms. Accessories and gimmicks is where I think the ball dropped. To start, the backpack can be detached, and the cockpit can be pushed up and collapsed to form the core lander. While the details, color separation, and opening clear cockpit are nice, there's no real way to display it separately besides placing it on a surface. The cockpit is also a bit tough to get back out though, and I found that using the opening glass pane as leverage is the best way to approach this. There is also an opening cockpit hatch for an absence pilot to enter through. For hands, the previous sets of fists, holding, karate chop, and open hands are joined with a new pair of specialized open hands and a single right shining finger. There is technically the same number of hands as the God Gundam, but besides the inconsistent palm detail as a result of reusing old parts, the Shining Gundam has used the shining finger on the left hand in a good number of occasions, so it's a bit odd a left option isn't included. Meanwhile, the only handheld weapons are the pair of beam swords of different lengths. They're stored very securely on the left skirt and can be popped out for use with the included SP5 beams. I mean, they work just fine, but I was kind of expecting that custom beams would be used instead to give the swords more vigor and to mold the G Gundam logo onto the long one, which, considering that it uses a metallic decal that can peel off very easily to replicate it, as opposed to the high-grade Shining Finger sword having a molded logo, it's far less impressive, isn't it? On that note, it's time to talk about the different modes. By opening up the faceplate, folding the arm guards forward and lifting the blue piece, the Shining Gundam is transformed into its battle mode, which ups the unit's speed and offense, including enabling the use of the Shining Finger finishing move. Personally, while I think the mode itself isn't all that impressive, I really like how the Shining Finger hand also depicts the extended fingers for the attack as well. However, its bread and butter is the super mode. From the battle mode, slide the shoulder panels up, open up the leg boosters, flip the side ankle pieces down, extend the toes, flip out the backpack boosters, and unfurl the Super Saiyan hairdo, and get ready to unload a lifetime's worth of love, anger, and all of your sorrow onto the enemy. Except the transformation is majorly fun and solid, the complete opposite of what activates the super mode. Some people may scoff at the gold used, which I don't really mind too much, but more importantly, there are no effect parts for the Shining Hand and Shining Finger sword to amplify that effect. Luckily, you can still commandeer the effect parts of the high grade for the real grades use, but who am I kidding? Sooner or later, Bandai will include those effect parts in either its own premium Bandai set or the true super mode release. It's also worth noting that the clavicles will collide with the open faceplate, so do keep that in mind while posing. And if you want to send the Shining airborne, a privacy cover can be opened up in the pelvis to reveal an action-based port. Leftovers consist of a lot of God Gundam frame parts, mostly allocated to the central mass and the shoulders. I guess if you need replacements, here they are, but they're completely useless otherwise. Now I know I shouldn't be too picky about the real grade Shining Gundam, but please hear me out. The body is a wonderfully engineered model kit. It builds upon the real grade God Gundam foundations very well, with the sharp and outstanding looks in all of its modes, the wide flexibility coupled with the overall rigid structure, which also contributes to a fun transformation between modes, and a variety of hands to pull off all the martial arts poses to your heart's desires. But I can't help but feel it's missing something. Now, I'm not about to make mountains out of molehills that are the reused frame and effect parts and slight inconveniences, but I feel kinda sour about it just because of what its predecessors are. The high grade was a bit of a mess, but at least it was comprehensive in its innate features, and a similar thing can be said for the real grade God Gundam without the mess part. And considering the real grade Shining costs just as much as the real grade God, and not only wasn't comprehensive, but also offered less than the high grade on paper, rubs me the wrong way. I guess the best way to describe the real grade Shining Gundam is that it's a phenomenal kit in an incomplete package, so it all depends on whether your focus is on the kit itself, the gimmicks, the accessories, or the overall offerings. And that's all for me. Thank you for watching, drop a like and comment if you did enjoy the video, subscribe for more content like this, and a special thank you to the channel members, credits in the description below. That said, take it easy, stay safe, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace out guys, bye bye.